It is Thursday, September 1st. Football, college football this weekend. The kiddies are back in school. Fall is in the air. All of a sudden, we've turned into San Diego, John. Here's Riggo.
Yeah, you're right about that, Todd. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, college football started last weekend, didn't it? Wasn't there a few games last weekend?
Technically, you are correct,
About 10 games or so, something.
Steel Trap is right, but the big boys, the big doings.
For me to know that is pretty amazing.
It's actually a little shocking.
I ain't got my eye peeled on college football, but that's side point. By the way, today's a very special day. My daughter, Hannah, a.k.a. Smooch, turned 26 sometime about 10 o'clock this morning. So about an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, our time, she turned 26 years old.
Golf clap for Hannah.
Yeah, so I
Hard to believe.
I sent her a text this morning wishing her happy birthday, and I said 26 years ago today. I said, and I remember it just like it was 26 years ago. But that's when I said, no, that's not true.
You were in New York, right?
We were in New York, and I can't remember the hospital. It's all the way up on the Upper East Side, right off of Fifth Avenue. Not Cornell Wheel or Cornell Weil or whatever, but it's something like, I can't think of the hospital, but that's beside the point because I know exactly where we were. And I remember the room. I remember it had a little courtyard that you could it was pretty cool, really. And I remember the nurse, the nurse I believe was Jamaican or Bahamian. And if she'd have to look like she did 26 years ago, but I think I could pick her out of a lineup. That's how I remember her.
It printed on you. That was your girl. That was your little baby girl, and she printed, right?
And this is the best part. As I told Smooch in my text this morning, I said, and then here I was leading off first base, had a nice lead, getting ready to take second. And next thing you know, the doctor picks me off first because all the experts around that would be in-laws and so on and so forth, based on how Lisa Marie was carrying the child.
Going to be a boy.
Going to be a boy. Now, I didn't want to know. I'm not one of those. I thought about it again today. I said, I did that right. I didn't know the sex of any of the children. I never wanted to know because to me that's like if they tell you after they do a sonogram, and then sometimes they've been wrong. Now that's really when you lead off first base. You go, oh, it's going to be a boy. I saw the sonogram. I saw a little penis. I saw the whole deal. And then all of a sudden, oh no, it's actually a female. It's a female. Well, what the hell? So this is what happened to me. The whole time, because I was wanting a little girl. Right? Well, after all this stuff, I started going, well, I guess a little boy would be okay. I can live with a little boy. Okay. And then the next day it would be like, yeah, a little boy, sure. And then, it's like, all right, okay, it's going to be a boy. Now I'm getting behind it. So you can imagine, and it happened. It was like about 10 seconds. When the doctor goes, and I can still remember, he's down there, and the child comes out, and I'm over here, so I can't really see. I'm off to his right, and I'm looking, and he goes, "It's a girl," and I kind of went, ah. It was like, and it took about 1,001, 1,002, count to 10, and I went,
really?
And then I kind of had to do this. Hey, dumbass, that's what you wanted originally. And I realized, yeah, okay. So yeah, that was kind of an.
Would you have named him Hank instead of Hannah? Did she know?
Didn't have a name. We didn't have a name. Well, did we? I have to ask Lisa Marie about that. I know I kind of had, and I didn't know about, and I don't know what it would have been. Coco, who is one of the stars of the show, and everybody has seen Hannah. She was on, about 6 weeks ago. I don't know if we had names going into it. I can't remember. I don't remember back then. Lisa Marie would know the answer to that, but I can't recall. I don't remember any boys' names, though. I don't remember
I do remember with Coco that Lisa Marie wanted to go in a different direction. You said,
oh, yeah.
And your line was?
Well, you call her whatever you want. I'm going to call her Coco. You name her whatever you'd like to name her, honey. I'm going to call her Coco. And that's just what
El Riggo speaks. Well, and there we have the legend of Coco.
Yeah, more or less. So anyway, Todd, happy birthday, Smooch, seriously. And Smooch will be over tonight. She's looking forward to her birthday dinner. I believe I'm going to whip up some steak. Which
nice.
I got to tell you, Todd, this is kind of I I don't eat meat that often, very, very seldom. And, years ago, the thought of a steak just go, ooh, I can hardly wait. And nowadays, I'm kind of like, well, okay. It's like.
Isn't it weird how your taste buds have changed?
I guess so. I mean, I eat fish every so often. I can't tell you the last time I ate a piece of chicken or turkey or something like that. Or pork for that matter. In fact,
I think I've had all of those this week already.
What's that?
I think I've had all of those already this week.
I used to have, in one day,
I was keto before it was cool. Let the record show.
Well, we were keto out in Kansas, too, because it was at least you had meat for breakfast, meat for lunch, and meat for dinner. And it was just a matter of, and it alternated between chicken, beef, and pork. No lamb, no sheep. Even though John Young, who lived about 2 or 3 miles west of Centralia, had a big, huge sheep ranch out there, and yet you could never buy a piece of mutton in any of the stores in Nemaha County that I'm aware of. I mean, if you wanted lamb, you had to slaughter your own, I guess. And I didn't know anybody that did. So that might have been too European for out there in the Midwest. I don't know about that. But anyway, so Todd, I have, as you probably know, have been working like a dog. It's been a long day's night. Isn't that? I've been working like a dog. Is that the Beatles song?
It's been a hard day's night.
Hard day's night.
I don't know how you do it.
I'll tell you something. I am not a working man. I never really ever was. That's obviously why I played football. There's a little bit of work involved in that. But guess what? You get 6 months off, and yeah, the work's pretty intense for a while, but it doesn't last all day. So it gives you a lot of time, gives you plenty of time to do stupid stuff like I used to do. Nowadays, though, I've got, because with the fall coming on now, because I plant bluegrass, it's a cool season grass. Well, you plant cool season grass in the fall, warm season grass is in the spring. So I'm going to plant the bluegrass. So I've had to get a lot of prep going on. Plus, I had one area down below about 500 square feet that had to do a complete makeover, where I had to go in and actually turn all. I didn't have to. Well, it's a long story. We'd cut through there with a trench, dug a trench through there, and all the grass died and weeds grew up. And so basically I turned it over just like you would with a plow, but I did it with a hoe.
I saw you with the hoe.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, then I went in the other day. I might have told you this. I was going to bring in this great big, huge, when I say huge, it's about 450-pound rototiller. And I was just not looking forward to that, Todd, because my lower back is bothering me. Not that I was going to pick it up, don't get me wrong. I was going to walk it down an inclined plane out of the back of the truck and then down again off the landing that I was going to put it on. But it's tricky at the back of the house there because the bank at the corner of my house really falls off quickly. And I could see if you just, not knowing the machine very well and something goes wrong.
How many feet is the fall?
Well, the fall down the bank is probably about, 7, 8, 10 feet, something like that. But I mean, the problem would be, okay, it's almost like, a car goes off the road down, that goes off the side of the road down into a
ravine.
A ravine. Now you got to get a tow truck to get the damn thing out of there. And I'm thinking, how am I? And then I realized, well, I got some stuff I probably could have, but then it's a long story. So I wasn't looking forward to that. Plus I was thinking, it's a small area. There's a fairly big machine. You get it back there, you don't know what you're doing, and the next thing you know, you start busting up bluestone, and I'm going. So it dawned on me, I have this little garden tiller, not a tiller actually, but a cultivator. It's a detachment that goes on the end of a weed eater. And I went out there over the weekend with all the stuff that had been turned over, like I said, like a pile, and busted that stuff all up. And let me tell you something. That was like all I could do was like hands and knees, get upstairs and get in bed. I was done. And then I went out in the last couple of days. Now I've had to smooth that all out with a rake and bring it all. And then also I dumped a bunch of compost, basically, soil amendment on top of there. And I had to mix, and that's what I was doing with the cultivator, was mixing that stuff in and mixing the soil all together. So now I've got it all leveled. So that's ready to go. So here's the way my new and improved, and this is, I found what my calling in life is. I should have been in logistics. I think I would have been very satisfied being in logistics because...
I don't know, but if I can see you there, okay, and check. But actually, yes, you are the optimizer, and you are detail-oriented when it matters.
Well, okay, well, here's the way this works. You remember, what was his name? Wasn't badass. What's the name on the A team? Hamilton, somebody, wasn't it? The guy by George Papard.
Yeah, George Papard.
Whoever he played. Remember at the end, he'd always go, "I love it when a plan comes together." That's me. That's my life. I love it when a plan comes together. I guess football's a lot like that, when you think about it.
Right.
Although I had nothing to do with any of the planning. I was just a small part of it. But I'm sure a guy like Joe Gibbs et al., all the coaches, they sit back there with their figurative cigar, Joe, figurative, and go, I love it when a plan comes together.
I can't believe those 11 guys all did their job on one goddamn play for the entire game, and we win.
Yeah. So anyway, like if I go hunting, and I've done this before, a lot of times, and I nowadays I don't do it so much, but I'll, in my head, put together my list of stuff I need, and almost every time, without fail, butter. Don't miss a trick. I need everything I took, I used. I don't end up going, oh, man, I can't believe I forgot that. It doesn't happen.
No, you probably have 10 things that never got used.
But the steel trap, well, that's true, too. I've been known to overindulge. That's true. I overplan. But anyway, so that to me is a great amount of satisfaction when you see what you're going to do and you actually can, put it into actualize it and make it happen. So here's what we got going on now. Now, I just mowed the grass a couple days ago, so I got to take it down as low as the lawnmower can take it, right? Because I'm going to reseed over the top of it. This other stuff is new seed, different story. So what I did, there's a little company we know, Energy Curve Technologies, out in Archie, Missouri, that we've talked to, and they've kind of got they've got kind of an organic approach to farming, and they're trying to apply it on a larger scale. So I've used some of their products, and one of them is called Benefit Digest. All their products start with Benefit, like Benefit Hay, Benefit Digest.
It's beneficial.
Yeah. So Digest is exactly what you think. It's a bunch of microbes, and it's like 10 to the 12th power or something like that. That's how many microbes you get in this jar. Now, I've never done 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, 10 times, but let me tell you what, that's a lot of microbes.
It's a lot of microbes.
It's a lot. I'm not sure if you got more microbes or you got a better chance in winning the,
Powerball?
Well, Powerball would be one, but no, I'm thinking of the, March Madness.
Yeah. Same odds.
Same odds. So anyway, I laid that down, well, because originally, I was going to power rake to get up all the dead grass. But, being Hamilton, whatever his name was, in the A-team, I'm going, wait a second, that's going to be a machine, cost me money, and it's going to be a lot of work. Not only am I going to have to actually physically power rake, then I'm going to have to take all the crap that comes up, and I'm going to have to break that into a pile and haul it off. So I'm going, a couple things here. One, that's actually more nutriments for the new soil, for the new grass. And it's all the work you put into it. So this is where you start thinking you're working smarter, not harder. No, the results are still not in yet. But so that's when I figured, well, I'll just put down this digest on it because the micronutrients will go to work, break all this stuff down, and it'll make it available to the grass seed next spring.
Winner.
Oh, boy, talk about a shortcut. I love shortcuts. I had a coach that used to say that there is no Northwest Passage in NFL. I found 2 or 3 of them. Thank you very much. Anyway, so I got that out of the way. So I put down the digest. Now today or tomorrow, I guess tomorrow morning, I'll take the mower down. I mowed a couple days ago, but you can't whack grass all at once because it's not good for the grass.
You scalp it.
You take 1/3 of the blade of the grass every time you cut it. You can't take more than 1/3, otherwise it's not.
Instead of buzz cutting it, you do it in
exactly.
stages.
You go. Oh man, you look like the Beatles when you walked in here. Oh yeah, I kind of like your short hair. And then all of a sudden, gee whiz, you joined the army? Got to do it, Poco and Poco.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll mow the grass, then I'll come back with an aerator, the core aeration. Exactly, punch all the holes in it, and then actually I will seed the grass. I'll put the grass seed down. Then I've got some kelp meal because I'm going, I think, pretty green here, pretty organic. I'm going to put some kelp meal down because I did a soil test. I'm real heavy on potassium, and the kelp meal doesn't have any potassium. In other words, I got more potassium in the yard than actually the plants need. So I don't need to put potassium on it. So I'll put nitrogen and I'll put phosphorus on it, and we'll see what happens. But here's the real game changer, folks. This is the one where I went, this is brilliant.
This is 4th and 1?
This is where I realized I should have been at Alamogordo when they were, boom, what was that? Anyway, I'm going to take my power washer. See, this is where most things fail when you overseed, right? The grass seed has to make contact with Mother Earth. Has to touch.
Doesn't blow away.
Well, that's part, but most generally, and last year it definitely happened to me, it must have hung up in the grass itself. Yeah, you water it, but only so much, and that's what the aeration helps, because the seed will fall into those holes and it'll grow and all that stuff. My thinking is this: there's such a thing called power seeding, and that's where they got a big huge tank. They pour all the grass seed in with it, and they also mix other, fertilizer and all this stuff. And you'll see these crews every once in a while out along the highway where they maybe have made a new road, and they've got the banks over there, and you'll see them. And it's almost like a lot of times it's a light blue color, like greenish blue.
Oh, yeah.
And they blow that stuff on the side. Well, that stuff just like sticks to the side. I think it's somewhat erosion resistant, and then the grass, starts to grow out of that. So this is kind of a homemader, a John Riggins special of how to get that grass seed down into the grass. So I'm kind of curious to try this. Plus you're putting water on the seeds right at the beginning. You got to obviously keep those moist. So that's kind of where I'm at now. And then as they say, what is that? The pièce de résistance. That'll be when I bring in...
This is with the kiss?
Yeah, the 15,000 European night crawlers that'll start doing my bidding for me while I sleep at night. No more. This will mean no more core aeration. The worms are going to do the work for me. Now, there is one drawback I've read, and that is when the worms come out of the hole, they do a little doo-doo, and so you get these little mounds around. So I'm figuring I'll deal with it.
That's got to be good for the grass, too.
Worm castings, it's the best fertilizer there is.
Probably not the best to be tramping barefoot or checking things out.
Well, no, because it's almost like dirt itself, really. When it dries out, it's no big deal. So, but the thing is that I think it's almost like, you're walking on little lumps and stuff. Anyway, that's what I got to look forward to over this Labor Day weekend. Getting my.
Well, you've been laboring. You've been putting a capital L in the labor.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
And the mulch that you were doing, was that the mulch or was that the compost?
Mulch was completely different. That was out in front.
Was that the compost or?
Well, compost and mulch. The mulch kind of covers the soil, keeps everything nice and moist underneath there, protects it from weeds growing out of it. Compost is actually like an amendment. That's dead material that actually you mix into the soil. You can top dress mulch as well. I mean, not mulch. You can top dress, what do you call it? Compost, soil amendment, whatever you want to call it. So that's what my weekend looks like. Now, I'm being being a blabbermouth, but that's what I get paid to do. So, come to think of it, though, I don't get paid. Minor detail. When you got so much inside, you got to
let it out.
You got to get it out.
This is your therapy.
Got to decompress. Exactly. So Lisa Marie she was 2 for 2 up until 2 nights ago on her movie choices. She found, I told you about Against the Ice.
Yes.
True story. Greenland. If you like adventure, good story. Then we watched another movie, and I cannot remember it, but I know Val Kilmer was in it. The gambler, Kenny Rogers, was in it. Was it Kenny Rogers? Yeah. No, it wasn't Kenny Rogers. It was the other singer, and I can't think of his name. What I thought it was Kenny Rogers. But anyway, that was a pretty good movie. But then 2 nights ago, we ended up watching Pompeii. Now, we went to Pompeii in 2019. We took a little European vacation and saw all of it. So Lisa Marie saw this movie and thought, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. All the stuff of, the actual footage of Rome, which I get a kick out of looking at stuff where that
you've been to and you can relate to. You go, I remember that.
Yeah, and the fact that, there is such a difference between Europe and the United States. Because, we're 200 years old. What they been going for 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 years. Yeah, I mean, those buildings over there, literally, some of the places you stay 400 or 500 years old, and they'll be there in another 400 or 500 years old. So, and then it's just kind of, it's Italy, I gotta feel if you don't like Italy, you don't like life. I mean, if nothing else, just go for the food. I mean, you'll never, ever, ever, ever get a bad meal in Italy. And I don't want to say anything about. Well, and they do have fast food over there, but I don't know who in the hell eats that stuff. Not the Italians. I know it is. The ugly Americans, they got to go, let's go over here. Let's
go get a Sbarro pizza over there.
Let's go to this burger shop. Anyway, so Pompeii. Now, I don't know what it is, but I find, and I was curious to ask you your opinion on this. I prefer, in all actuality, most of the time, the classics maybe not so much, but a foreign film. I would much rather, even with subtitles, which kind of leaves me, a little vacant, but at the same time, sometimes you have to have them. But a foreign film with subtitles, there's something that's so credible and real to me about foreign films versus American films. American films are totally based on bullshit.
CGI, computer generated.
You just hit it.
All
Computer.
the horse shit.
This whole thing of Pompeii with with Vesuvius and looking down into the bubbling and the blowing and all this stuff, and then the earth starting and stuff, earthquakes and people falling into. And I was just like, to me, that completely takes away from the film. It's like total bullshit. Why are you trying to do this to me? It doesn't add anything. Now, I don't want to take away from folks that really dig that stuff. When I was a kid, I thought it was pretty cool when I first saw Sinbad, with Steve Hercules Reeves, and he was whooping up on something. And, of course, he was a bodybuilder. And I thought, yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be that guy. I like the way he looks. But I was a kid. I got older and I realized this is not true. And when I say it's not true, that's what everything is, as Bill Esper used to say. You got to create the illusion, the illusion. So that's what all acting is ultimately. But then it can go too far, because I can really invest in a lot of these foreign films that you have that are very real and could very easily happen. It seems like all of our plot lines here in this country is just like,
you nailed it, John. There's actually more acting. Because today's theaters, and they all originate in this country, everything is going to be they want it to be a blockbuster, right? So they have the latest tips and tricks, and it's bullshit. Right. They want everything to be the next franchise, to be the Hulk, to be Spider-Man, to be this, to be that. So think about smaller countries where they don't have those size budgets in the studios and stuff that gets greenlit to make it where you find better stories, better storytelling that are more realistic. A lot of the stuff that ends up being documentaries or ends up at Aspen or Sundance or the smaller stuff. I agree.
It's what you said, visual effects. I mean, to me, the computer-generated stuff, I'm going to get rid of it. I don't need it. It really doesn't work for me.
Fast and the Furious, you can fill in the blank, and they're all this nonsensical fantasy stuff that is apparently it's addictive and works for the younger generation.
It's JP5.
Well,
American film is JP5, and in Europe, what you usually get. I mean, as if I would know, but I mean, I can tell what I like, so I can speak from that sense. That I do like it plain and simple. So for me, anyway, foreign film is kind of like, supposedly this was said to another actor. There was a movie, and I believe it was The Marathon Man. Do you recall that?
Oh, that was. Is it safe?
Laurence Olivier?
Is it safe? Is that what? Yes, it's very safe. It's very safe. Dustin Hoffman in the dental scene today still gives me the heebie-jeebies.
And that was Laurence Olivier was the dentist. And so I guess when they filmed that scene, that Dustin Hoffman stayed up all night screaming and doing. I mean, this is just a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. And so the next day, of course, he comes to the set and he's just like, he looks like he's been through the dental chair all night.
Like when you've been driving all night and you ain't got nothing. I've seen like deer jump out that weren't there and stuff, and you're like, whoa.
Exactly. That's it. That's what he did the night before. Supposedly, Laurence Olivier looked at him and said, "Why don't you just try acting, my dear boy?"
Why put you through all this?
I thought, and that to me is what the Europeans are telling us about our film. It's like, hey, just try acting. You don't need the JP5. It'll be enough.
Isn't it fascinating? I remember this came out like 4 or 5 years ago. This started trending, this and that, in which acting, right? What is the job of an actor? They're making you believe something in a character that they're not. Right?
Yeah.
And then certain groups are like, oh, well, that person can't play that role because he's not that person. No, we're not getting people. You're an actor. That is your job, to convince me that you are a rock. You're a horse. You're a mobster.
A tree.
You're a
whatever. Many people got their start being a tree. Big. They're huge. Huge. They're huge.
What kind of tree would you be?
I'd have to be a hickory. No, I think I come back. I don't know what an ipe tree looks like. Hardest wood in the world. Go with my head.
I'm with you because I got no idea what you just said. So yes,
IPE might not be, but it's like also
not a redwood?
Also known as Brazilian walnut.
Oh my!
Very hard to get a hold of.
Oh my!
So anyway, there you have it, Todd. That's my whole spiel for today. What do you got?
I'm glad. Great session on the couch.
Come on.
We're going to talk a little football that's coming up because Lord Football is here.
Yes, it is.
College and pro, John, and the ratings and everything are going to be through the roof. And so let's get into some money talk here, because this just came down today. Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos.
Correct.
Russell just agreed to a 5-year extension.
Was he under contract?
He was already under contract. I believe he had a 2-year contract that he already got a bunch of bonuses for, and that hasn't played it down for the Broncos yet. So they just signed him
to all on the come, as they say.
5-year extension worth $245 million, $165 million guaranteed. All right, John, let's take a look. These are from Spot Track. It's an incredible website that has contracts, how they're broken down. The data they get is number one, and for every sport. So these are the most total guaranteed money that currently exists with Russell Wilson's signing. Now, Deshaun Watson, who probably, with the exception of Goff and Wentz, but he's probably down relative to his performance, and considering that he hasn't played in over a year, his is still the benchmark.
It's mind-boggling.
It's the largest guaranteed dollars in the history of the league. Yeah. And for the Cleveland Browns, again, good, bad, or indifferent, to give that to execute that type of contract with all of this out there, it just shows you the power of the league, the power of the money, and whether or not he hasn't been convicted of anything.
Yeah. So, but he's got some negative publicity
big time,
chasing him around.
Big time. So Kyler Murray got his deal, and Russell Wilson's guarantee, his fully guaranteed is $165 million.
This is all guaranteed.
This is all their guarantees. If they don't play another down, they've made this amount and they've got this. Now I want you to take a look at number 10.
Yeah,
because I said it a couple of weeks ago. I bet you, and I had not looked it up yet, but I felt confident that Carson Wentz had already made over $100 million. So if he doesn't play one down of football, if he plays one down for the Commanders or 0 downs, he will have made $108 million. So that's the number 10. That's how much he's made.
He didn't come in here with a contract.
No,
because he was a free agent.
Exactly. So he came in. So his guarantees will go up see what happens after this particular season. But he will have made $100 million. So Jason, right? I hope Carson's going to be okay when, a local reporter, Scott Abraham, maybe has a poorly worded question that, you have to come and defend the honor of your quarterback because
he can't do it.
Yeah, So I hope he's going to be okay and he sleeps okay and his ego's not hurt and the sensitivity. So I just think this is it's fascinating because you got a guy over in Baltimore, Mr. Lamar Jackson, who's been sitting around watching all the chess moves. And Lamar is without an agent. And he is trying to do this on his own with his team, whatever that means, probably lawyers and hopefully some good accountants. But when you're at this level, my personal opinion, pay the guys that do this for a living and let them earn whatever.
Well, I never did.
But you never had an agent.
No, I didn't. And my deal was, though, I wanted the experience, i.e. of dealing with
the negotiation process and how it works.
Yeah, like when I dealt with one of the shrewdest guys in the business, I mean, clearly it was cat and mouse.
Edward Bennett Williams.
Well, it wasn't him so much. Well, originally,
Jack Kent Cook.
Yeah, it was actually in the end it was Jack Kent Cook. Well, both of them, let's face it, pretty shrewd guys.
So Edward Bennett Williams.
Way out of your league, but at least you feel comfortable about being around people like that, even though I never did get comfortable being around people like that. You
so for the youths out there, Google Edward Bennett Williams and his chops.
Yeah.
He was...
presidents would call him up and ask him for advice.
Yeah. And then Jack Kent Cook. And then,
need we say more? I mean, a self-made millionaire at the time who, in this day and age, would be a billionaire.
Well, at that particular time,
it was very close.
If you recall, John, at one point he had the largest divorce settlement in the history, I think, of the world.
Yeah, it was. But what I don't understand about this is, let's just say Deshaun Watson, he's lost a year. He's got you don't know. I mean, now he was playing in Houston. You got to say that wasn't probably an optimal place to be playing football. I don't know. I don't know enough about the kid, but. You'd think that kind of money would throw your whole salary structure out of whack, wouldn't it? That he would have to be so good to overcome a lot of places on the team where, well, we had to pay him, so we had to kind of go with the guy off the street
It absolutely matters. But,
I mean,
everybody says...
So how can they win? How will Cleveland win and get to where they want to be when they're, they got this.
Well, they thought that Baker Mayfield was it, right? He was the it guy, first rounder.
He did too many stupid insurance commercials. Too much at his house.
And the fascinating stuff, none of this counts for endorsements or anything. This is just their NFL money. Baker probably made over $50 million in endorsements. Probably.
Easy. Was he the Heisman Trophy winner?
I believe so.
I can't remember.
So, that's correct, John. But every team says we can't win if we don't have a franchise quarterback, right? What happened to the LA Rams last year, right? Matthew Stafford was stuck on the Lions, had nothing. They thought he was the missing part. So Cleveland had been making a lot of progress, and they had a stout defense and a stout running game, and they felt that Baker couldn't get it done.
So he's going to put him over the top.
Then that's the move that they made.
So you kind of mortgage your future with this guy, and really it's a gamble. But then again, it all is. You never know. I mean, how these guys are necessarily going to turn out. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is kind of interesting because he just did an extension, didn't he, or something like that?
Yes.
And he's only got $150 million guaranteed.
Yes.
Which kind of,
But his, I believe, is only for, I think his maybe like 3 years. So you don't have the links on here per se. But
so there's not, what you see here is not necessarily apples and apples. There's little apples and oranges.
True.
This is just gross numbers right
So the
here.
point being that, he got 230. Mm-hmm. All right. So Russell gets 165. So everybody firmly believes that Lamar Jackson is better than Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray. Russell Wilson's older. Russell's 34, I believe. And so he signed. He's gonna finish his career with Denver, win, lose, or draw. So he got his. They can go up to $245 million. It's front loaded where he gets $165 million guaranteed. It could end up being $245 if he plays it out with no restructuring. So at what point, though, to your point, Lamar Jackson in Baltimore is in a, I don't know if it's an enviable or unenviable position.
Well, I look at it, though, that the one thing, like anything else, because you're really gambling that everybody's going to stay healthy, for sure. And when you get a rabbit, which is Lamar Jackson, like I say, Todd, the rabbit always gets caught.
100%. And that's where they always come up short in the playoffs.
And when a rabbit starts slowing down,
right.
Typically speaking, obviously it adds a lot of excitement to the game when a quarterback, but I hate to say it, but I guess it's just because I'm old school. But the rule changes to me, if you want to protect the quarterback when he's in the pocket,
fine.
I think that's fine. If you want to let him get outside the pocket and start running, I'm going, I think he turns into a running back at that point.
You're not a fan of the sliding bullshit?
All bets are off. That's got pussy written all over it. And as soon as you hit the turf. Now, I will say this, on the other hand, that's the way you live to tell the tale. So
maybe
I don't recall. Huh?
Maybe a future in the NFL in 10 years where running backs get the slide. It's the give-up move.
Well, I will say this: had they had if it was an option, I might have voted differently. I might have said, the pussy rule works for me too.
I slid.
Yeah, I did. I would slide. No, I tried not to, but every once in a while you got. Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And these quarterbacks, they know when to fold them. They get their little first down, they slide, and it's all nice and cute. They keep the sticks moving, and I just go, this is wrong. This is wrong. Yeah, exactly.
And all right, John, so the NFL season kicks off a week from today, September 8th. And I should have this right in front of me, who is playing, because it is the Buffalo Bills and the LA Rams. So that's going to...
Which everybody thought would have been the Super Bowl last year, wasn't it?
Right, 100%. Now, John, interesting that you got Amazon, who is a full-time partner now of the league, the Shield.
How many games will they do on Thursday night? They got Thursday night.
They got 15.
Is that right?
They did the final preseason game last week and all 15 regular season games, and exclusively on Amazon, okay? Amazon, and they actually just made it available. They had an announcement last week. They are partnering up with DirecTV Business so that it can be shown in bars, because those are big accounts, and not in the streaming portion of that. They haven't quite figured all that out, but they will.
So wait a second. If you want to watch Thursday night football, basically all the games will be on Amazon. Meaning,
that's it.
So you have to have the
Amazon Prime, where you can stream it.
Right.
But it's for real. It's here. And so keep an eye on. They pay big money. Now, I'm going to refresh your memory on some of this stuff because there's been a lot of movement from broadcasters. So I'm going to give you the broadcasts for all the different networks. So Thursday nights. Any idea? Who do you think?
I know that he had to recuse himself. Somebody. Aqib Talib.
Yeah, he was involved in a really terrible situation.
So he was going to be he was probably sideline reporter.
I believe he was going to be sidelined.
I don't know who's going to be there.
Al Michaels
is going to be.
He's the lead broadcaster. We're Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk Herbstreit left ESPN.
He did.
To go to Amazon with Al Michaels. So Mr. College Football, Herbie.
And Al Michaels has always done Thursday night football, so it's not new for Al.
Well, Al did. He was
did Thursday and Sunday night.
Sunday night, right? And he's done it all. He did Monday Night Forever today with Kaylee Hartung. That's your Thursday night. She's a sideline reporter.
Okay.
All right, CBS, your number one crew.
I know who that is.
Yeah, I know you do.
That would be Troy Aikman. No, he's Fox. That would be the other Dallas quarterback and Jim Nantz.
Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson.
That's it.
Your second crew is Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn on the sidelines. Third team, Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, former QB here, Melanie Collins on the sidelines. Fourth team, Greg Gumbel, Adam Archuleta. Got a lot of former players here. Adam Archuleta, safety. A.J. Ross on the sidelines. Andrew Catalone and James Lofton. And then you've got Spiro Dades and Jay Feely, Tom McCarthy, Tiki Barber, and
Tiki?
Tiki.
What's he, sideline or is he?
No, he's been in the booth for a while now.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like he's the last crew on CBS.
CBS. Well, that would make sense
now.
Well, no, he was in.
Here's one that I kind of forgot too. Who's the crew for ESPN now on Monday Night Football?
I think one of them is Chris Collinsworth.
Wrong.
Okay, is he Sunday night?
Chris Collinsworth is Sunday night.
Okay, Monday night, I don't know.
Sunday night is Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico replaced Al Michaels.
On Sunday night.
On Sunday night.
Okay, Monday night is the other big. He kind of got a weird name, right? The heavy set guy.
Nope.
Who is it?
So forgot these guys. It's the number one crew for Fox. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman left Fox and went to ESPN. I forgot. Monday Night Football with Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters on the sideline.
They took the whole crew.
They did. They took the whole crew. And Troy Aikman, he had a press conference yesterday, and he was a little snippy about Fox and saying how he was disrespected and they never talked to him in all the years.
Oh, and that's why he left?
And the communication was bad. And they backed up a truck in front of me over here. So, but he kind of took a little shot at him, which is very un-Troy Aikman-like, because you talk about...
He's a good old boy from Oklahoma.
Meh. Fox, your number one crew now, Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Andrews and Tom Rinaldi. That's the number one crew on Fox.
Wow, Greg Olson skyrocketed.
Yeah, he sure did. So did Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin Burkhardt was like the number 2 or 3 crew, but
they'll be doing the prime game.
Yeah, and number 2 crew, Joe Davis and Daryl Moose Johnson. Moose is still at it.
Joe Davis.
I don't recall him as well. Then Moose Adam Amen and Mark Schlereth.
Yep.
Stink here, another former DC. Christina Pink on the sidelines. Then you got Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake. I think we're going to get a lot of this is the 5th crew. Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez,
he's still there.
Coming out of mothballs.
And then Chris Myers and Robert.
Didn't he play here too? Like you say, Todd, a good friend of ours says you can't make this up.
But if you look at all the guys, with the exception, I think, of Schlereth, who had a nice career here, all the rest of them did nothing here.
They played, Archuleta played well for the Rams, and then they all
played well other places.
Right. Then he came here for payday, and that's the last year.
Archuleta had record money. He got a $10 million. I'll never forget it because it was Brandon Lloyd, wide receiver, and Adam Archuleta got record signing bonuses of $10 million each, I believe. Check that.
This is almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, and it was historic. He got the most money as a safety in the history at one point in time. And then we gave Landon Collins, and he 15 years later, then he got record money. So
and then the guy that went to Buffalo, He got record money.
Yes.
Josh, what's his name? Josh, the cornerback.
Oh, Josh Norman.
Josh Norman. And then they just got the guy from, you're talking, is that him, Todd Collins from New York Giants? Who's the guy they brought down here from the Giants here 2 years ago?
Landon Collins.
He
got the record money.
All right, Todd. As I was talking about all the Collins boys there, brothers and whatever, Tom Collins is a drink in it. I think that's what I'm heading to get one. Yeah, this is it, folks. Last Chance Saloon. A week from today, the NFL begins its season. And of course, the following, I think, Sunday, the football team here in Washington will be playing out at the Warehouse. They've got the
Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you think the opening line is right now?
I'm going to go with Jaguars, a favored.
No. DC. I think they get your standard home.
So it's like 3.
3 points. Well done.
Well, we'll be glued to that one, right?
Oh, yeah. You're doing some yard work.
I probably will be doing yard work. Really. I mean, but you never know. I might get tired and have to come in and have a beer or something. Anyway, Riggo out. See you next week. Bye.